Welcome to Aligned Entrepreneur Secrets. I am your host, Traci Bermingham, and today we are joined by Matt Remuzzi. Let's see. Matt is the founder of CapForge. After being laid off from a venture-backed firm during the dot-com bust, Matt started CapForge in 2000 as a consulting business for small businesses. Since then, CapForge has expanded its services to include bookkeeping, tax prep, payroll, and more. Join us as we learn about Matt's journey and how he continues to grow his business while maintaining five-star quality service for his clients. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you for having me, Traci. I appreciate it.
I am so excited to have you here. And you're in sunny San Diego, my birthplace growing up. We've
Yes.
reminisced a little bit on the locations. That's so fun. So talk to me a little bit about your journey to where you are today. How did you get into this area?
Yeah, I mean, it's been definitely a long and windy journey, and I hope when people hear, accounting, bookkeeping, tax, they don't snooze off, because it is what we do, but really with a very entrepreneurial focus. And I am not really an accountant. I'll be the first to admit I run an accounting business, but I am not an accountant. I am much more an entrepreneur. And back when I got laid off, what I was doing was helping small business owners write business plans and do financial projections to help them figure out how to grow their business, raise capital, and get to the next level. And I've been doing a version of that really for the last 24 years, just sort of changing the medium that we were doing it in. But along the way, I owned a restaurant for 4 years. I owned some software businesses for a while. I did business brokering for many years. And what I discovered all through the process was a lot of times business owners would say, "Oh, I'm not a numbers person. That's not my strong suit. I don't really like that stuff. I really, I put it off, or I've hired someone to do it," which is understandable. But I think, you're missing out on a great tool to really help you grow your business and maximize the profitability and maximize the exit value that you get if you sell the business. And so my kind of mission from 2012 on has been to work with business owners to understand their numbers, to make it not intimidating, not overcomplicated, and really be able to be a partner to them so that they can understand exactly where their business is doing well and where there's room for improvement, and give them, straightforward action items 30 days at a time that they can use to then really make impactful decisions and changes and improvements in their business and really see that cash flow evolve. And like you said, take that stress and give them the peace of mind, take that stress off their shoulders, give them the peace of mind to really feel good about the business, have it going in the right direction, have it feel like they can financially support their families and invest in growth and all that kind of stuff. So it's been a long journey through a lot of different businesses that I've owned, and literally thousands of business owners I've worked with. But to get to this place where now the whole goal is really to help entrepreneurs have better businesses and understand how to continue to improve their businesses. Whereas before, I think a lot of times they just kind of feel like they're in the dark and they don't have anyone to turn to for help.
I hear you. And do you find, I think this is so needed. Do you find that I come across a lot of people who they're visionaries, right? A lot of entrepreneurs get into building a business because they have a vision, they have an idea, they want to make an impact on the world. But then for me, it's the operations piece comes into place, right? And they don't have the systems in place to support them. And for you, it's the numbers, right? The data, the cash flow, all of those things, the taxes, all of those things that are coming. Do you find a lot that people, I get this on my end, that they're embarrassed by not understanding the numbers and not understanding, it's almost like they should. I hear that a lot. They should know these things and they don't. Do you see that?
Yes, very often people are embarrassed that their books are 6 months out of date, or that they didn't even realize that some of the numbers on their balance sheet were completely out of whack, or the tax things, that they could have done to have saved themselves money. They feel sort of ashamed that they didn't, have a better handle on it. But you came into this as an artist, or as a dentist, or as a construction expert, or, whatever your business was, whatever your technical skill was that you built your business around. That's what you know really well. Why would you expect to have, a deep knowledge of these other aspects of running a business if no one ever taught you that? It wasn't in school. Nobody, put you through any courses when they gave you your business license. So there's no reason you should feel bad that you don't know it. But now that, you've acknowledged that it's not your strong suit and that it's something you could use help with, let's work together to get it to be something that you can really do well with. And you don't have to become an accountant, just like they don't have to become an operations expert, right? You're there to help them with that. I'm here to help them with the numbers, to give them enough that they understand it and can make great use of it without having to get all the way in the weeds, right? That'll be my job. And I'll just then bring up to you, here's the straightforward, simple stuff that you can then use to make those decisions with. But you're right. I mean, there's definitely this feeling like I should know this. I should have a better handle on this. And I'm sorry, I don't. Like, well, don't be sorry. Let's just take it from wherever you're at and move forward now. But I mean, we're not taught this stuff ever. So it's not surprising that, most people don't have a good handle on it.
I totally agree. And so we've studied these things, we've assembled teams and trained teams and worked with teams to be able to deploy these tactics, right? And so of course you don't know. And like, do you really want to be an operations expert? I doubt it. Do you really want to be a tax expert or a bookkeeping? I doubt it, right? Because you chose to go into business to do something, your vision, right? Something different. I totally hear you on that. And so if someone were to want to, where would they even start? Like, what is a, give me some red flags, I think, of like, you're seeing this in your business with me, which means you need Matt and CapForge. Like, what is that you're seeing?
Well, a lot of times people come to us for one of two reasons. Either they're struggling because although the business might be doing well in terms of they've got a lot of sales, they've got customers, they've got activity, they've got employees, they find that, they have 25 days worth of cash for a 30-day month. And why is that, right? There should be enough to not only get to the end, but have a surplus and, be able to invest in growth and be able to, put some aside and take some out for all that hard work. So that's something that very often we can work with the business owner to kind of figure out, okay, where is it coming in and where is it going out? And let's understand the drivers of those things and what we can impact, what the quickest fixes are to help it, and then the longer term changes that we can make to improve that. And a lot of times it's not anything terribly complicated or terribly, you don't have to spend 6 months to fix this. It's just things they just didn't, you don't know what you don't know. And so my job is to come in and help you figure out what those things are and what we can change. And the other place that people come to us a lot with is they'll feel like I'm doing okay, we're making good money, but I'm sort of stalled, right? I'm not sure what I should be doing next. And it seems like every year the tax bill gets bigger and, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. I'm not sure if I'm doing that right. Should I buy another location? Should I just stick where I'm at, but try to market? So again, that's, okay, well, let's look at what's going on and figure out what the real drivers are. And maybe there's three things your business does, and you've been focusing equally on all three, but really one of them is doing the lion's share of the growth and profitability. The other two are actually not helping you much at all, or maybe even dragging things down. And you just, you kind of had maybe some gut level feeling that maybe that was happening, but here I am coming and putting it in real dollars and cents and saying, yeah, you were right, but it's even kind of worse than you thought, or, let's look at it. So my job is to take the feeling that you have or the struggle that you have and turn it into, here's action items to get this resolved and turn it around and put you in a position where things are working, cash flow is coming in excess every month of what's going out, and you can make plans for the future and you can get to those goals. And then some of what, people ask me about crosses over, I think, probably into directly what you're helping them with, which is, you know, I seem to be making okay money, but I never have any time. And I'm always running 6 different directions and it always feels like stuff's on fire here. How do I fix that? And that's, well, you need systems, you need procedures, you need processes, you need repeatable things that you do each time this happens, that happens. And you need to start looking at what's on your plate that you don't need to directly deal with. And some of that may be accounting, which I can help take off your plate, but there's lots of other things probably too that you're doing that you don't need to be doing. And then there might be some things that you are doing, but you only have so much time in the day to do. But if there was another person who could also do it, now your business is capable of continuing growth. For example, a lot of owners are the key salesperson in their business, right? They do the customer contact, they write the quotes or the agreements or whatever. And if they had another person who was trained on how to do sales, now they could have more sales than they have time to do themselves in a day, but they just don't. Well, how would I even teach somebody that? Well, yeah, you start with write down the procedure. What do you do each time? It's probably not, there's a tendency to think, well, every time I meet with somebody, it's different. Well, probably not. If you sell sliding glass doors, right, it's probably not different every time. You measure the door, you figure out how many doors they have, you figure out whether they want the fancy model or the basic model. And, it is teachable. You don't, you're not stopping to think about the steps that you do.
Taking the time.
But
yeah.
You could break it down and you could teach someone else how to sell sliding glass doors or whatever your business is and deploy them. And now you have 2 people out selling for your business. And guess what? You can double your sales by having 2 salespeople. So a lot of times it's just having that conversation and their eyes kind of go, oh, wow, it didn't even occur to me. Oh, well, I'm here to help you have that occur to you so you can then continue on your journey.
Well, so I think it's so interesting because it's the numbers, the data, the metrics, right? And I love what you're doing, and I'll go there in a second, but it's about figuring out what levers to pull. Right? Like that's really that's why you do the numbers, right? I think that a lot of entrepreneurs are like, yeah, it's just busy work. It's just, I don't understand it. I don't know what to do with it. But the second that you have someone like you, or, someone on your team that can say, okay, here's what we're seeing. And based off of this, these are the next steps that you need to take in your business to either solve that problem, put out that fire, grow your business, whatever that may be. Like that's massive. Like the potential to double, triple, 10x your business, to save your time, to reduce your tax bill. I mean, all of those things, that's big.
Yes. I mean, and that's what I think, I always say, I don't really ever sell our service. I just say, here's where you're at. And here's what I think we can do for you. And here's the steps that we would take to do it. And here's what it costs. And if that makes sense, then let's work together. And most of the time, what I'm saying is, here's what it costs. And here's what I think we can get you to. What I can get you to is 10x or 20x or whatever the cost. So I'm not doing any kind of hard sale. It's just, here's the solution. Here's the results we think we can get. Here's the cost of it. And, you make the decision and owners go, yes, let's start. I want to start right now. I haven't had anybody I could talk to, anybody who's offered that kind of help. And like I have a CPA once a year, they send me a tax bill and tell me to pay this amount. They don't know my business at all. They don't understand. I ask them questions. They have no idea. I've never talked to somebody who wanted to get in and understand my business and be able to answer my questions and help me make decisions that would help the business grow like you guys are offering to do. Like I know, I mean, when I ran businesses before, I didn't have anyone either. So I get it. I get where you're coming from. And that's why we're here to help. And, I don't have to twist anybody's arm, right? If for whatever reason they decide it's not a fit for them, no problem. But, most of the time, once they've seen kind of, okay, what you're saying sounds reasonable, and I think I can do what you're saying I should do. And the cost to figure this out and to have the help it's really like a no-brainer. which is great. And then let's do it.
You're extremely unique, and I'm sure you know this, but I want the listeners to understand here. So, I've worked with a tax person and years ago, and she's a lovely woman. But we were getting hit with mega tax bills. Both my husband and I are entrepreneurs, and we were getting hit, and we were saying, what can we do proactively next year? What can we do? And she said, well, just spend more. Right? That was the answer. And there's got to be more than that, right? Like there's got, right? And so I think that having you being an entrepreneur first, and then bookkeeping, tax, accounting, kind of second, I think, or even just dual, right? Like maybe not even first and second, but just those dual roles. I think you have such a unique perspective and a unique guidance that you are able to give us as entrepreneurs to be able to elevate our businesses.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I think that's exactly right, because most people in the accounting field, they went to school for accounting, maybe they worked at some accounting firms, and then maybe they went on their own as accountants, but they've never really run an operating kind of business, and they just don't have that sort of variety of experience running a lot of different businesses, being in the weeds, having to stress about making payroll and stress about marketing decisions and all those kinds of things that most small business owners do. And to them, numbers are second nature. It's almost like, somebody who can do calculus trying to teach a second grader addition. It's like, well, it's so obvious. Why don't you get it? Because
Right.
that's what they live. But, to the second grader, hey, this is all new information. I
Right,
don't know what you're talking about.
right.
So I think our ability to relate to entrepreneurs is directly descended from my experience being an entrepreneur first and foremost, and understanding and have empathy for exactly where our clients are coming from, the challenges they're facing, the indecision that's kind of gnawing at them, the insecurity they have about things, and being able to relate. Look, I know how you're feeling. I know what you're thinking about. Let's put your mind at ease. Let's address it from the baseline starting point and figure out how we can help and make this make sense for you and make this work for you. And I think a lot of accountants and CPAs just come in at that 100 miles an hour level, and they go, okay, well, let's look at your numbers. Oh, okay, I can see that you need a 179 this, and your debits and credits don't match, and we got to fix your. And the business owner's like,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a different experience from start to finish.
Yeah, and I think for listeners, it's aligned entrepreneur secrets, right? And it's talking about alignment and how to align your business. And I think that the metrics, the numbers, the taxes, I mean, taxes and like you said, spreadsheets and all of those things are so overwhelming. And it's something that we know we need to do, and we know we need them, but there are so many of us that are scared to death of tax season, right? And the surprises and the everything. Could you imagine working with Matt and having that all in alignment? And so when you get to tax season, you know that you're saving more than you ever have before. Your numbers are all buttoned up. Everything is 100%. You've actually taken action over the year to optimize all of that money, right? Like you're working so hard for your money. Let's optimize it and do what we want with it versus having it go places that aren't working anymore, or that it just goes straight to the tax debt, or whatever that may be. So that is what alignment is about. And just imagine the peace of mind, right? As an entrepreneur, the peace of mind that you have once this is all aligned and all straightened out, and it's just clear and easy and simple, and it's not a worry anymore. Like tax season comes and goes, and it's just okay. It's another day because you already have everything all set up and ready to go.
Absolutely. And then the nice thing about having that security of knowing that it is taken care of is then you can also see how much do I have that I can invest in not only growing the business, but in putting those systems in place so that I can take a vacation, or even, gosh forbid, I'm out sick for a week,
Yeah.
things don't fall apart. Being able to put that structure in place, put those systems in place, invest in that ability to delegate and have some support and some admin help. I mean, that is also worth a ton, right? Even if you're not taking quite as much home because you've hired an admin staff, or, put some systems in place, you got an ERP system or whatever to, get rid of all those
Yeah.
stacks of paper and invoices and bills that were piling up, and putting things in place. That is worth even more sometimes than just the additional cash that you can take out of the business, because now you've given yourself an operation that can, to some extent, hopefully to a great extent, run without you and even grow without you. And that, to me, is the ultimate goal
Yes.
as a business owner, is to get to that point where the business no longer relies on the owner being physically present on a continuous, regular basis to keep things from falling apart and to keep things on track. To me, that is the ultimate goal. And when you know that, okay, I have the financial resources to start investing in putting that plan in place, it just, even if you're not there yet, it takes a big load off your mind to know that I'm on the path to
On
get
track.
there.
Yes. Yes. Agree completely. And the only way that you're going to do that is by aligning all aspects of the business, so that, can you imagine if you were out sick for a week and you had nothing in place? You'd be a mess. You'd feel awful, and who knows what's happening in the business. So by aligning everything, putting all of your systems, the right people, my whole thing is the right people in the right seats doing the right things at the right time, right?
Mhm.
And by doing that, whether it's a team physically in your location, or whether it's consultants or partners like you that we work with, that have our backs and are able to help us in putting these systems together and actually running them.
Mhm.
I love it. Very
Yeah,
good.
absolutely. I mean, I think, the one of the big breakthroughs for me, one of the things that really enabled me to feel even better about the business, was a couple of years ago, I promoted two people internally to be my co-CEOs. One woman who was in our bookkeeping department and one woman who was in our admin department. And they both had the sense of ownership, sense of pride, intelligence, managerial capability to be in those roles, and working together. It really has been huge for me, because now they take care of the day-to-day operations and I can really focus on continuing to grow the business. But what's great about it is that, the three of us, if there's an indecision, we can meet and I can be the tiebreaker, or one of them, we all have
Mhm.
equal say in it. But we've gotten to the point where we're 81 employees now. And I felt like, aside from me wanting to be able to have some time freedom to take time off and
Mhm.
travel and do some of the other things I enjoy, and them as well, right?
Yeah.
Is that with 81 people, it's not fair to everyone else for things to hinge on me. Because, well, again, if something happens to me, what does that mean? 81 people now have to go find a new job because suddenly I'm, out of action for some reason, accident, whatever, who knows,
Yeah.
illness, or
Yeah.
even someone else in my family, something happens, I have to step aside. You don't want the whole thing to fall apart, and you don't want people to feel like, oh no, what happens now? Are we still going to get paid on Friday? You want to be able to not have your business be relying on any single point of failure. And that, to me, includes the owner, right? If any
Agreed.
one employee leaves, that shouldn't kill the business, and that should include the owner. So when I, implemented this new management team setup, it was a sigh of relief on my end, because I knew at this point, the business will continue whether I'm here tomorrow or I'm out for a month, whether I'm out for a month enjoying a vacation or I'm out for a month because, who knows. But that has been the biggest peace of mind, aside from, obviously financially, it's nice to do well and be able to set aside for retirement and everything else. But this change has been the single biggest thing that I've felt like has really told me that I've gotten to the next level of business.
I would agree 100%. That's the level, right? That it's that self-managed business, right? That business that runs itself. I think that that's kind of the ultimate goal for many,
Mhm.
right? So congratulations, well done, and thank you for sharing. That's
Yeah, no,
amazing.
it's really what I'm proudest of is that, you know, I was able to find and train and, you know, encourage and empower two people who could come in and really they run it like it's their business, which is, you know, great. That's
Everything
the
you'd
most
want.
I could
Yeah,
hope for.
yeah,
And sometimes people say, you know, like I was talking to a client who's a florist. And, you know, she says, well, I got into this because I love doing floral arrangements. I love the design. I love that aspect. But as the business has grown, I hardly ever get to do that
right,
anymore.
right.
And now I'm just admin. I'm new, you know, making sure payroll and I'm going to the bank and I'm trying to sell customers and I'm doing this and that. I said, well, it doesn't have to be like that. You could build the structure so that all those things are taken care of by other people and you continue to do the thing that you love the most, which is the design part of it. It doesn't have to be that you take all the admin tasks because you're the owner. You just have to have the
Right.
intention that you set it up so that the business can, those business functions are still taken care of, but not by you. And you have a very small oversight role just to make sure everything's on track with that, but you can really focus. And she's like, really? I would love that. I said, yes, you
Right.
can do that. You just have to make that your plan,
Create it.
right? You
Sure.
don't feel handcuffed to your business, you know, make it the business you want it to be. And oh wow, this is, you know, game. Because I would, when I was doing business brokering, I would talk to people all the time who would say, I would say, you know, why do you want to sell the business? You've been doing it for 5 years, you're doing well, you're making good money. And they said, I haven't had a vacation in 5 years. I just want to sell it so I can have time off. I'm like, well,
It's an
it doesn't have to be
option.
one or the other.
And right. And there's a lot of other choices there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
But
very good, Matt. I think that this is so important, and I think that you have such a unique um, ability to help people. And so, for anybody listening, if they'd like to work with you and to learn more about what you would do and how they would work with you, where would they go?
yeah, I mean, the best place to find us is our website, capforge.com. It's got information on all the services we offer. It's got pricing on there. It's got, you know, a lot of information about me and, you know, other places, other podcasts and things I've been on. If you want to hear some more of that kind of stuff, there's a lot of resources on our blog and our new, every week I write a newsletter on, you know, one tip to help you grow your business. And, you know, every week it tries to be something actionable that you can do to help just make your business just a little bit better. And if you know you do it all year long, then by the end of the year, your business is that much better. And of course, if you're interested in finding out more about, you know, working with us or things we can help with, you know, feel free, please to reach out. I'm happy to talk to anybody about anything. And but yeah, the capforge.com is really the best place to find us.
Very good. And I will add that link to the show notes so that anybody listening can go and click in the show notes and you can get to capforge.com on your own. Thank you so much, Matt, for being here. This has been an absolute wonderful conversation. I'm really, really glad to meet you, to know you, and to learn more about CapForge and what you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Until next time, we will see you then.